Roderick family, how's every single one of you today? Sunday night, we probably are thinking, why is Juan recording at this time? But guys, a Hard to Kill just took place, Impact Wrestling, and we promised we're going to do it. So of course, here I am. We're just going to do the review very fast, just because there's a lot to talk about it, but we're going to try to just be informative. It was a really good pay-per-view, really different from the style that WWE is. Not the same type of wrestling. Like the matches tend to be a little shorter than like what WWE will do, and like the production is a lot different that like what WWE will do. But we're gonna try to do our best right here. Thank you for everybody that has been subscribing. Thank you for everybody that watches the videos. We just have also we just released NXT Takeover Blackpool 2. Jean Paul and myself, great review. Almost an hour of going throughout the whole pay-per-view. Beautiful triple threat match with Toni Storm, Piper Niven, and Kaylee Ray. Ladder match, and of course Walter retained the NXT UK World Heavyweight Championship. So very good. So we're gonna get right straight to a Hard to Kill, Impact Wrestling. So we're going to start out the very first match, the most dangerous man in the whole world, Ken Shamrock. He's back. He's fighting on Impact. He signed a contract. So he had a match with Madman Fulton. And the match itself, well, let's kind of backtrack a little bit. Madman Fulton, he is actually one of the lackeys from Sami Callihan, the Impact World Heavyweight Champion, and that's why he got a match with Ken Shamrock, and Fulton was the one that helped out Callihan to get the win. So that's why they set up the match here for the show. And the match itself was kind of fast and extremely short, but I think it's probably because of Shamrock, and also because Fulton, I don't know if it is storyline or if it is actually legit, but he dislocated his shoulder. So let me go over my notes a little bit. The match, they fought until Fulton went to the flood and Shamrock went for a dive. That was a really good spot right there. He dove, and to see Shamrock diving at that age, it was really cool to see. Fulton caught him, and then Shamrock slammed Fulton to the cement floor. Shamrock kept laying in the knees, and Jay Chris got some too. Jim Chris is another lackey from Sami Callihan, and he actually was trying to get to distract the referee and all of that, and the referee ended up kicking them out. So Shamrock started Shamrock started taking a beating for a bit with a few bumps. Then Shamrock went for the Kimura lock and lock it in, and then Fulton started selling his arm. He started selling the arm big time. The injury was really, really bad, and that's when they're showing they show a shot that Shamrock, his shoulder got Fulton, he got the shoulder dislocated. So that was the injury, and the referee didn't want to continue the match. He was no, the match is over, and Shamrock is I'm not fighting you anymore. But Fulton is no, I want to keep going, let me fight. So then Shamrock didn't want to keep fighting because he already broke Madman's shoulder, and then Ken Shamrock also locked another submission hold in the arm, and this time Fulton was screaming in pain. He was screaming, he couldn't, you could see that he was selling the injury really bad, if it is actually a sell, but if it is a legit injury, well, I want to say really praise for Fulton, because it was it felt like the shoulder got really dislocated. So then Shamrock is applying this submission hold, and then Fulton then just tap out. So this was the first match of the pay-per-view. Again, Ken Shamrock gets the win. That was really cool, because I really want to see Shamrock at least. I know I'm an old school guy, so that's probably I want to see Shamrock having maybe a championship match, which will be cool, because it's Ken Shamrock. He deserves a little more than what he got in WWE. He was a UFC champion, and his run in WWE started out really, really nice in 1997. He won King of the Ring in 1998. He won the IC Championship, Tag Champion also with the Big Boss Man, and just to see him coming back and have these matches with top talent in Impact, Sami Callihan. He also did Joey Ryan, and now Fulton, so it's really cool. He fought Moose that was a Slammiversary or Bound for Glory, I'm pretty sure. He lost in that match, but at least in this one he gets the win. So let's move on to the X Division Championship match. Ace Austin against Trey. The X Division title is like kind of like you will say in WWE, like the Cruiserweight Championship or like the Light Heavyweight Championship. So the X Division title has a lot of lineage, really great champions like Jerry Lynn, Samoa Joe, and Chris Sabin. And you probably guys are saying Chris Sabin. Chris Sabin used to be tag partners with Alex Shelley. Alex Shelley now is like in everybody's mouth because he came back for NXT or the Dusty Rhodes Classic with Kushida. So also he holds like the record for most reigns, and the title itself like has brought like a lot of great names, and just because like the type of matches, it just produces like smaller guys that like were able to have good matches like with a lot of springboard moves and all of that. So Ace Austin and Trey, the storyline is just based on like Trey and his mother. His mother is involved in all that. He's always like in ringside, like she's always like supporting her son and everything, but Ace Austin is actually trying to get in with the mother. Like he's trying to be flirty with her and everything, and Trey is actually saying, no, you gotta stop, you gotta focus on me. Yeah, like, and so that's pretty much it's been like the whole plot or the whole storyline from the match. So we're just gonna take you out to some spots of the match. Ace hit a nice dive to the outside before continuing his offense. They rolled for a little bit on the outside, and Trey took a suplex. Ace pushed Trey into the guardrail in front of his mom. Then Ace chopped and slapped him in front of the mom again. Like I said, they're playing like the storyline. No, it's always about the mom. It's always about the mom. Then if we go to like Ace continued the beating in the ring for a bit. Then he focused on Trey's leg a lot. Then he got Trey between the fingers with his playing card. And then they rail, but Ace nailed a kick to slow him down. Soon, they just had Austin in a stretching submission hold for a second and hit a flatliner off the ropes for a 2 count. That was a really good spot, and like I said, X Division Championship match, there's a lot of high move risks. There's a lot of, kind of like the cruiserweights will do it. So the action is fluid, is quick, and the pace is really, really, really quick. And like I said, at some points they will just stop for this to check on the mom. Like the camera will just focus on the mom. And that was kind of like the storyline for this whole thing. And the last sequence of the match, Trey hit a 619 and climbed into the top rope. But Austin racked him with the ropes, and then Austin hit his finisher and won. So Ace Austin just retains the championship, and like I said, a pretty good match for like I would say like cruiserweights, and he is the one that like retains. And after the match, Trey was like going just to gorilla position, but then Ace was starting to flirt with the mom once again, and then he was like, oh, just give me a kiss right here, and then you see the mom was kind of getting into that, but then you see Trey jumping again, and then you see the officials trying to stop. So we see that feud is going to continue. That feud is going to stay hot because, like I said, these two can put like even better matches. Now you will think that like the production and everything that Impact has is pretty decent. I will say pretty similar to like what NWA will do. So I'm enjoying these pay-per-views. I say that Impact is actually relaunching, revamping, because like from the years, I want to say from 2010, 2011, 2012 that I was actually watching, I used to enjoy their pay-per-views a lot. And after that I kind of stopped, but like then Impact went downhill with Hogan and Eric Bischoff and all of that. But this time I'm actually enjoying this pay-per-view. And now we're just going to go to triple threat match, the second triple threat match involving women in one day. So I just wanted to see which triple threat match was going to be the best one out of the two, because I wanted to compare Toni Storm, Piper Niven, and Kaylee Ray going against Taya Blanchard and Jordynne Grace and ODB. I was never been a big fan of her, but I know that like her story is good. Is kind of like I want to say like a positive story, because she actually stopped wrestling for a while, and she had a food truck, and she used to sell burgers, barbecue burgers or something like that, but her food truck caught on fire last year. So she reached out to Impact, and Impact donated a lot of money from some of the shows for her so she can have her food truck back. So that was really nice, and that was like, I guess that's when the opportunity came for her to make a return, and she came back. She's a 4-time Knockouts champion, so that added a little bit more spice to the match, and that was for me pretty interesting. And then we get to see also the longest Knockouts champion Taya Blanchard, and Jordynne Grace. Jordynne Grace, to me, she's on fire. She's a hell of a wrestler. I really love her. I think that she should have won the match, but the fact that she didn't win kind of gives me hope that she, for example, could get a contract on AEW, and then she could be like the main woman and the woman that's going to carry that division on AEW, just because like the quality of a wrestler she is. She's extremely good. Big Mama Pump. Everybody loves her. I think she's pretty. You know, she can carry herself in the ring pretty well. She's a good promo, and she knows how to sell herself. So she could easily be, you know, the main woman in that division. She could even go. She's as like athletic as like Nyla Rose, as like any other, like you will say, like over like a bigger woman. But like for example like Piper Niven, same thing. So you could see like I was really hoping for Jordynne Grace to pull the victory here. So but unfortunately Taya Blanchard retained. So I'm gonna take you through some of the spots. ODB hit a fallaway slam on Grace on the outside, but she hit her head on the ramp. That was cool. ODB is like a really decent wrestler. Like she can pull like really basic moves and also some kind of a high risk. So I really appreciate that from ODB. And then Taya took control of ODB for a bit. Then Grace got in and wrestled with Taya for a little bit, and then ODB left the ring. ODB hit a bulldog on Taya after the second rope. That was a nice spot because it was the three of them working right there. While she had Grace in the hole, Grace tried to work on Taya, but ODB wouldn't let anyone get the pin. Grace sent ODB to the mat from the top and hit a senton, but Taya broke out the pin. ODB then hit a Samoan drop, and then Grace splashed them both on the pinfall attempt. Grace hit the Grace driver on ODB, but Johnny Bravo, that's the, if you guys wondering who Johnny Bravo is, that's Taya Blanchard's lackey. And then he was the one that was distracting the referee. Then Taya stole the pinfall. So when Jordynne Grace was trying to come back to the ring to stop the pinfall from Taya to ODB, then Johnny Bravo was holding Jordynne Grace. So that's how she retains Taya Blanchard. For the ones that don't know, she's Johnny Bravo, John Morrison, Johnny Mundo, Johnny Impact. That's his wife. And also, like they call it La Güera Loca. That's because she was very well known in AAA. She used to be also the women's champions on that promotion. So she retains her championship, and once again, she's the longest Knockouts champion in Impact history. Moving along, family. I hope you guys are having a good time because I love to be with you guys and I love to talk about wrestling. So thank you for giving me that opportunity. We have RVD, Rob Van Dam. Like this guy came back again to Impact, and this new gimmick that he has now, I'm really enjoying it. Just basically because he's a heel now, and he has two girlfriends, one of them being Katie Forbes, and he's becoming a pimp pretty much. Like he does makeout sessions every time that he's with her. Like he doesn't even pay attention to what's going on. All that we see here is like both of them making out. Katie Forbes looks like another version of Kim Kardashian. She has a pretty, I want to say, big derriere, and that's what she likes to shake. And I guess like they do that just to pump out the crowd. Pretty good. Like I said, the gimmick itself, like being a prick, is like, hey, I'm better than you. I have more women than you, because Katie Forbes also has a girlfriend, so he dates pretty much the women. So I enjoy Rob Van Dam in this kind of a new storyline, because I think part of him, he is like that, but like I don't care. I do whatever I want, and if you like me, good. If you don't like me, even better. So that's cool. And he went against Brian Cage. And Brian Cage, of course, he's the former Impact champion, and the storyline just pretty much was based about the fact that like Rob Van Dam was saying that Brian Cage stole a lot of his moves. Is like, because of me, there's all these wrestlers of this generation, is because I do the Band Dominator, I do the 5-star frog splash, I do coast to coast, all those moves, super kicks and all of that. They do all those moves because of me. So that was this story, and the match itself was really short. I don't know what happened with Brian Cage. Once again, another one, like I don't know if he got really injured or it was just storyline, but I'm gonna walk you through a few moments of the match. Just let me see my notes. RVD's girlfriend, Katie Forbes, she distracted Cage during the entrance, and RVD jumped him, and then they started the match on the outside. Cage retail for a little bit, and then RVD kick a chair in his face. Cage's mouth was busted open, so I think that's where the problem begins. Cage's mouth was busted open, and then Van Dam hit the Van Dominator, and then the girlfriend Katie Forbes held the chair, and then he hit the Van Terminator, or he hit coast to coast for pretty much. So there was blood all over Cage's face now. So that's when like the referee stopped the match. So I was like, well, I don't know what's going on. Maybe he was legit injured. I don't know, like if that was the storyline that they wanted to use. And then Daga, for many of you, Daga is a AAA wrestler. That is also he is the one. He is on an Impact right now, but he comes from AAA, and he happens to be Tessa Blanchard's fiance. He came down. And that was because before the match, he was actually walking by Van Dam when he was cutting a promo, and Van Dam is like, hey son, you want a photo? You want a picture with me or something? So he came down, and he was trying to get Brian Cage to go out, and then they had a match, and Rob Van Dam and Daga. He's a really good wrestler. Like, for example, for an X Division championship, he in that division, he will do really, really well. But then with Van Dam, the match also went really, really quick. And then Daga hit a few more kick power moves for a 2 count, and RVD hit a couple of vintage moves like the corkscrew leg drop, and then he nailed the 5-star frog splash, and then he got the win. So Rob Van Dam, once again, he is still proving that he's one of the best wrestlers of all time, and he is still getting those wins, and people always love him just because he's Rob Van Dam. So we're going to move on to probably, in my opinion, I should say, that's probably the best match of the night, and it's Michael Elgin against Eddie Edwards. The storyline starts like Michael Elgin. He lost the #1 contender, the gauntlet match that they did, to Rick Swann, but then Eddie Edwards was making fun of him, and then Michael Elgin, he won the award for like the best heel, I think, on Impact. And so that's why like they start feuding to see who's like the best man out of the two. But the match went really, really long. This is one of the longer matches that they had. And just let me take you through some spots of the match. Elgin continued his assault on Edwards, but he couldn't close the deal. Then Big Mike tried the twist on Eddie's head off. They suplexed each other over the top rope, sending them tumbling to the floor. Eddie hit a belly to belly on the floor next before hitting a suicide dive. Extremely great match. Like I said, this one was probably, again, very contested, like back and forth, like and a lot of near falls. Like I'm gonna walk you through some more of the spots. Eddie hit a backpack stunner for a 2 count. Then Eddie hit the Blue Thunder bomb, kind of like imitating the Sami Zayn days. Like we missed Sami Zayn fighting, so that was cool to see. I love that move. The Blue Thunder bomb is a beautiful move, and he did that for a 2 count. Elgin returned with the fire, but could not secure a victory. Then Michael nailed a forearm, and Edwards scrambled, only to come back and trace forearms to get dropped once again. And then the main spot, and then the finish. Elgin nailed a splash mountain bomb for another 2 count. Elgin went for another bomb, but Edwards rolled him up for a pin, and then he won. The match was actually 15-20 minutes. Good, intense, powerful 15-20 minutes, so I really appreciate that. And Elgin is the kind of guy that does that, because he had another match like that with Rick Swann. So I really appreciate those type of matches, especially during this pay-per-view, that mostly all the matches before this one were like 5-8 minutes at the most. So extremely good showing for Eddie Edwards, although I wanted Michael Elgin to win. Elgin is pretty good, and I think that like him and the guy that we're going to talk about right now, those two could be potential #1 contenders after this championship match with Tessa Blanchard and Sami Callihan, if Tessa becomes the champion. So we're going to talk about moves and Rhino. Now the story about moves and Rhino goes against the Spear and the Gore, who has like the best moves. So we could easily kind of go in like the same story, like we'll do Goldberg against Roman Reigns, or Edge against Roman Reigns, Edge against Goldberg, who has the best move out of the two. And that was pretty much the storyline. Moose goes to Rhino, and he says, hey, I saw what happened with Rob Van Dam. You lost, but actually beat Rob Van Dam in Slammiversary, so I can give you a few opponents. So that kind of got Rhino upset, and then they start feuding, and they added this match. They made it into like a new no disqualification, so they were able to have toys and everything. So that was really cool and exciting, and I really appreciate that Moves actually paid tribute to Macho Man Randy Savage. He came out in his gear with like the big coat, and also like he had like the shoulder pad, and like the trunks, the shorts were like actually like colorful and everything. So the match was really, really good because they added a lot of toys. They added like kendo sticks, they added chairs, they added all of that. So I'm going to walk you through some moments of the match. Moves got a table and looked to powerbomb Rhino off the apron through the table. Rhino got free and Rhino powerbomb Moves to the table. Rhino threw a bunch of chairs in the ring. Moves hit Rhino with like a trash can lid and nailed a senton to Moves, and then he hit a top rope elbow from a 2 count. Then he even did a diving elbow from Macho Man Randy Savage. So again, one more time, thank you Moose, because I really enjoyed the thing that you did. Rhino stopped Moose on the top with a chair before tackling him on the chairs and hit him a superplex on the chairs. Rhino got another table and set it up in the corner. Moose kicked Rhino to block a gore through the table. Rhino nailed a clothesline for a 2 count. Then Rhino hit a gore through the table. I thought that was going to be it. I thought that Rhino was going to win. Rhino is a good wrestler, but of course the age, and he has to start he has to start putting people over. So I feel that that's why he couldn't get the win. And I guess Rhino is like he's still going maybe his last year in wrestling. So I understand why they did what they did. So he hits the gore and he pushes Moose to the table, but Moose pushed the referee through the table. Like when he was about to hit the gore, he actually put the ref, and then Rhino ended up goring or spearing the ref, and then a second referee came and counted for the two, and then Moves nailed a low blow and then spear for the win. So this is what it was. Moves, of course, he's a heel. His character is like a Razor Ramon, but like in a more modern version. Like he's like, oh, I gotta know how to do everything. I'm like a perfect man. Everything I touch is gold. But when he really tries, it's not really the truth. But he wants to convince us that he's like that. So I think Moose is gonna be probably the #1 contender if Tessa Blanchard becomes the champion, because like it just makes a lot of sense, because Moose can say, hey, I beat Shamrock, I beat Rhino, I beat Van Dam, I beat everybody on pay-per-view, so I deserve a title shot. So that was the winner, and that is Moose. So we're gonna move along. Continue on, family. Then we have, it is time for the Impact Tag Team title match. Then we have the North, Paige, and Josh Alexander against Willie Mac and Rick Swann. But this match unfortunately became a handicap match because Rick Swann, former WWE employee, former Cruiserweight champion, he had some legal issues that I guess he got arrested at some point, and then he actually was fired from WWE. He quit wrestling, and then the people from Impact made him come back. So it was a nice thing to see that like the production, like the people from Impact actually made Rick Swann come back, because he's a great talent, great wrestler. He's so skillful. His skill is like over the top. Like he had a really great showing in the Gauntlet match to determine the #1 contender for the Impact Heavyweight Championship. Unfortunately, he got eliminated by Brian Cage, and the rest is history. He went on to form this tag team with Willie Mac. But in one of the small shows that they had during the weekend in Dallas, he got injured. I think it was a 6-man tag, and he got injured, and that's for that reason he couldn't be in this match. So Willie Mac actually went by himself, and this became a handicap match for the World Tag Team titles from Impact. So the North, I'm just going to walk you through like a few spots on the match. Will hit a running boot in the corner and Explorer suplex on Josh for a 2 count. Mac then lost control of the match once again, where the North hit the 2 double team moves for a 2 count. Then when we said the North is Paige and Josh Alexander, then they put Mac on the top, but Willie fought them off. Then he hit a destroyer on Josh on Paige's shoulders, but he couldn't make the pin. Mac hit a dive on Paige and climbed up for a 6-star frog splash, but Paige pulled the referee off the ring. Then the North hit their double tag team move after taking stunners for the win. So pretty good match, although it was a handicap match, so there were the odds of like they will not be able to win, and this match already got, I'm not going to say tarnished, but like the excitement of the match was already a little low, just because like Rick Swann was already injured, so it took a lot for me. It just made it look a little different from what it could have been. So we're going to talk about main event. Sami Callihan against Tessa Blanchard for the Impact World Championship. There have been a lot of controversy about Tessa. Some things that like other wrestlers, former Impact employees have come out and said about she being a bully, she kind of like saying some kind of profanities, inappropriate words about African Americans and things like that. But I'm not really going to touch on any of that because, we just focus on wrestling and that's what we want to do. And I think that like the match itself was extremely great. Like Sami Callihan and Tessa told a beautiful story. They actually went and hit it up like 2 or 3 notches up from what they did on Slammiversary, and I think that like they did a really great job to make both of them look good. And for the first time ever, we have a woman holding the World Heavyweight Championship on Impact, because for you guys, Tessa Blanchard is our new Impact Champion. The match itself was absolutely fantastic, and I think the outcome is good because it's going to put eyes on on Impact from everybody. I think that's the main reason why they did it. Sami Callihan is a great champion. His gimmick, his character is so different. He's so unique because he's such an asshole. He's such a piece of crap, and he doesn't care. Like, he goes out there and he's like completely, crappy, disgusting. He will do whatever it takes. But when I say whatever it takes, I go to like the extent, or I say whatever it takes to keep that championship. And they told that kind of story here. So I'm gonna walk you through some passages of the match. They started out with a kick in Callihan and a cactus special for a 97 for a 2 count. Then Sami continued with the assault. Tessa bit Sami's forehead and hit a magnum for a 2 count. Then both finishers in the first minute of the match. So you could see like they were telling the story. They were going old school, and that's the kind of things that I like and appreciate. The match was like kind of, I want to say 25 minutes or so. So it was long and it was good. And then Tessa sent Sami from the outside, and then she hit the 3 suicide dives to the floor. Then the third one saw Callihan catching her, but Tessa turned it into like a hurricanrana. Then Tessa climbed onto the top and hit a somersault senton on Sami to the floor. Then Sami hit Tessa with a cup of beer and sent it into the guardrails and a knee first. Tessa started selling the legs, so Sami started to work on them, wrapping them up, and then she hit Tessa with a chair into the steel post also. Then Callihan looked into another leg submission before Sami chopped her back and broke up the hold to himself. Callihan kept the abuse coming for Tessa until she kicked him to the floor, but then she couldn't get to her feet. So you could see like the storyline was like Sami working on that leg. Like he kept working on it, and Tessa of course screaming in pain. Oh my gosh. And you will hear Sami like, tap, you son of a bitch. Tap, they kept going at it. Like it was like extremely raw and good. So that's the kind of wrestling that I like. It was like the old days, like I said, all attitude there. So let's keep going through some other spots for the match. Tessa laid on the outside and trying to punch Callihan, feeling back into her knee. She got on the apron and tried to kick Callihan, but he grabbed her arm and power bombed her into the barricade until the outside. The referee started to count, and then she barely made it into the ring. So that spot we saw in the NXT Takeover Blackpool also with Tyler Bate. The same thing, they always do that spot to like make the face look even better. He always beats the 10 count, so they did the same thing. Then they made it back into the ring and started trading shots. Sami put Tessa down with a stiff chop, but then she got right back up into his face to get back down. He yelled, "Stay down, please stay down." Well, he didn't say please, but he stay down. But she came back, so he kicked her in the knee, and then Tessa hit a Samoan drop while selling her knee. So you could see the stories about the knee, like she kept grabbing the knee, and you could see that she was in pain. She couldn't even get up like properly. So that was the main story. Then Tessa took a boot to the face and then hung Callihan for another magnum, for a third magnum, and then a 2 count. So it was already like you could see that she kept going for her finisher. And like we were saying with John Paul, that I want to shout out, the finishers should be something that you just hit once and maximum twice. I don't want to see that you hit your finisher back and back and back because it doesn't become your finisher anymore. So I feel that like you need to develop a little bit more moves, maybe signatures, maybe moves from the top rope or things like that, because if you keep hitting your finisher, it becomes like Destino with Tetsuya Naito. So it's like you gotta hit like 10 of them to beat somebody, and it shouldn't be your finisher. It's just like it should be like your signature move, because you're the one that does that, but it's not your finisher. Why? Because it doesn't finish as people. So Then Tessa and Nell and RKO for a 2 count. That was close, and that was almost 3. And the ref you suck chants broke out. There was a lot of you suck, and like everybody wanted Tessa to win. Everybody was behind Tessa, and it was like the one particular spot is that there was this guy that like was yelling at Sami Callihan. He's like, fuck you, you're a piece of shit. And then Sami Callihan stops what he's doing and he goes, fuck you too, bitch. So that was like extremely interesting how like Sami Callihan plays with the crowd. Like I want to say also like the crowd for today was very, very into the match, and a lot of the matches I will say, for example, when the triple threat for the women, Taya Baker, Valkyrie, oh La Buena Loca, like a lot of chants of that, just become remembering her days from the AAA, a lot of chants for Rhino, Moose, Booze, or Ken Shamrock, very good, like the crowd is into it, and I like to see that there's a lot of more eyes to the Impact product, because the more promotions that we have, the more diversity we will have, and again, the fans are the ones that get benefit from it because we have alternatives to look. If you like stiffness, you can go New Japan, you can go NXT UK. If you like good storyline, good development, and extremely good wrestling, there you go AEW, NXT. If you like just cartoonish kids storylines, logic gaps, not really things that make sense, more soap opera storylines, and a little bit of wrestling in the mix, you can go and watch Smackdown, Monday Night Raw, and in Impact you get a little bit of everything. So Callihan grabbed his title and his spot on the referee, then Sami put on our brass knuckles, and then Tessa kicked him with a low blow and climb up to the top, and then hit a Magnum for a 2 count. Then Tessa locked him down with a crossface, but Sami got to his feet and beat her hand before hitting the Cactus Special 97 for a 2 count. And then the last 2 sequences of the match, then Tessa hit 2 Canadian Destroyers and then another Magnum, and what we have is Tessa Blanchard as our new Impact Champion once again. Match I really enjoy. Also Sami Callihan did a few pile drivers, which I really enjoy because that move is banned from like every single company, mainly the WWE. It's just because we know that like it's a dangerous move, but at least Callihan is like remembering, and I think he performs the move really well, because otherwise he wouldn't be doing it as much as he does. But the main story is like Tessa is the champion, and I think that that's a good thing for like professional wrestling, for fans, for everybody that is watching Impact. So I think that like most of us are going to be obligated to go and watch the next episode that is going to be on Tuesday, 8 p.m. on ANX, there you go, or Access TV, however you want to call it. And overall, I want to say a pretty enjoyable pay-per-view. This was going a little bit too long. I wanted like 3 hours almost. I wanted like to be like 2.5 hours, just because I was actually very happy with NXT Takeover Blackpool did with the 2.5 hours, 5 matches. But here, well, there were like 8, so I understand why they did it. But in the end, they gave the crowd what the crowd wanted, and that's Tessa Blanchard as a new champion. I'm really happy for that. And guys, I want to thank every single one of you for watching this review. Hope you guys enjoy it, and please don't remember to follow us. You can see subscribe right here in our beautiful template, and you can see also follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, Original Roderick, OG Roderick on Twitter, Roderick for the Facebook fans. And like I said, thank you so much for giving us an opportunity to talk about our passion and what we love. Just do me a favor, please, keep commenting, because so far I don't see a lot of comments. I want to keep the interaction with you guys. Let us know if you guys what you like from the pay-per-view, what you didn't like from the pay-per-view, and I will give you one piece of breaking news, because that's what Roderick does. We like to keep the news right when they come out of the oven. Brian Cage, the machine and the human machine, Brian Cage, has signed with AEW a multi-contract. So that's extremely important, because it seems like he's going to leave Impact, and now we have a main guy for AEW. I don't know what role is he going to get. I will suggest to AEW to get Jordan Grace, to even get Taya Valkyrie. You can get to Neil Dashwood, like get another more known name for the women's division, but that's only me. And in the name of myself, I just want to say to you, have a great evening, have a great start of your week. Remember, wrestling never stops, and neither do we. And Roderick is the podcast that matters. So, in the name of Juan, I just want to say to you,